Hey folks, I wanted to make a video about Tesla version 8 software. My wife just got the version 9 update. I figured it's only a matter of time before I do too. And I hadn't seen many videos on Tesla version 8, and so I wanted to make this video, if nothing else, to just kind of preserve what was going on with version 8. What did it look like? How did it work? You know, how great was it compared to version 9 and stuff like that. There are a number of differences between version 8 and version 9. And since nobody else made a video to talk about this, I figured I would. And so this is Tesla version 8 software. It's actually really similar to versions 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They all had the same kind of layout here of kind of buttons on the top, two distinct areas which you can maximize and minimize to fill the entire area. I'll talk about that here in a second. So you got what they call app icons at the top, starting with the radio or media player, navigation, a calendar. One of the things I really like about the calendar is that it really shows the date, and it shows you this is December 15th, and version 9 they've taken away that. Energy next, and the web browser, and then finally the phone icon way over here, which actually looks like a phone. The irony is, on Tesla version 9, the phone icon looks like something that millennials certainly will have never seen in their entire lives, and might not have even seen on a movie. So this actually looks like a real phone. The new one looks like something that came out of the 1800s. So anyway, this is Tesla version 8. One of the neat things about it is that each one of these areas can fill really the entire screen. And so you can do this with the media player, getting a lot more access to just basically a lot more screen area dedicated to this, dedicated to the media player. So another thing that I like about it is that the icons, if I go back here to this, the icons are bigger in the media player, and also the radio stations, actually the logos of the radio stations themselves actually are visible, and they show up. The version 9 is what I call the 50 Shades of Gray user interface, because all it is shades of gray. There is no color to it whatsoever. We'll talk about the maps here in a second, but the neat thing about Tesla version 8, especially when compared to version 9, is version 8 is completely consistent. And what I mean by that is, if you take a look at for example, the love icon here, the one, if you really want to save this as one of your memorized items, it's a heart. And this heart is located well far away from all of these controls. In Tesla version 9, they've turned that into a star, and they've located it right next to this one, which, if you've got presbyopia, this one can actually look like a star. So, it's happened to me more than once that I've pressed this one, meaning to press the star, and pressed the star, meaning to press this one, because of their close proximity and because it's a star. Now, let's talk about consistency. Well, in the media player, the thing that you love is a heart symbol. And in the web browser here, if we go to the web browser, the thing that you love is a heart symbol. So it's consistent. Talk about the web browser here for a second. The web browser truly can go full screen. And the neat thing is that there are websites that were made just for Teslas to go full screen, like this one here. This one here is made to go full screen, and what was neat about it, they have a number of these screens that you can use dedicated just for Tesla, including this one, which has this fire thing. So, this fire thing that's available in Tesla version 9 had been in Tesla version 8 and previous versions for quite some time. So, but the neat thing is, as you can see, the web browser can go full screen. Anything can go full screen or partial screen. Like this, and you can change the order of these with this little icon right here. So you can just reorder what's on top and what's on the bottom. And that's another thing here when we'll talk about the rear view camera here. So the rear view camera, once again, getting into the word consistent, when I say, hey, I want the rear view camera by pressing that one, it will by default occupy the top area. And the neat thing is, even in the more normal situation of you having the navigation up top and the media player there, when I actually go into reverse, the reverse camera goes on the top, so it's consistent. The reverse camera goes on the top when I put it in reverse, and the reverse camera goes on top if I say, hey, show me the reverse camera. It's completely consistent. So there's another thing here talking about consistency. The little lightning bolt icon. The lightning bolt charge icon has in Tesla version 8, and also, by the way, in the application itself, the app for the phone, it's this 45-degree diagonal. So in Tesla version 9, they have changed it to a more vertical diagonal. But in the app, it's still a 45-degree diagonal. So now it's inconsistent. Before it was consistent, now it's inconsistent. When we go to navigation here, you can see that the icons here. Once again, it's a diagonal thing. It's completely consistent. And also, these icons actually make sense. This makes sense. Everybody knows that this is the charging icon because of its consistent use throughout the whole Tesla infrastructure. This icon here looks like cars following each other. In Tesla version 9, it looks like a bug or something. It is completely indistinguishable. And there's another thing. When you want to see kind of the world view, the top-down view of what it looks like from aerial photography, you press this world icon. It looks like a world. So the icons here in Tesla version 8 make complete sense, but the icons in Tesla version 9 don't make sense. And in fact, what's a little bit funny to me is that the icon used for to say show me the world view is exactly the same as the icon that they use for the web browser. So they're reusing the web browser icon as the world view icon. So there's another thing too, which is when you're in the standard configuration, which is this, and you go into drive, the map will take the entire view. Now, Tesla version 9 is kind of like this now. You get the map over the entire view, whether you like it or not. But there's a difference, and that is that in Tesla version 8 and prior versions, you were left with very few things up here which can be a distraction. You get the lock icon, the Tesla, and the time. That's the only thing you have up here. In Tesla version 9, what you've got all of these icons, which you don't really need while you're driving. You don't need to be able to poke around the status and this sort of thing. And all of these things are available in Tesla version 8 by just touching, and they all will come back. Now, the neat thing is that Tesla version 9 could do this. They could make these icons go away just like they did in Tesla version 8. I'll show you this again. So we're here, we go into drive, all of this goes, and these also disappear too. I'll show that again. So we're here, and when we go into drive, all of this disappears, and all of the things that you don't need to use up here also disappear, right? And when you touch, these come back and these come back. This can happen in Tesla version 9 too. Just as they're making these things go away, they can make the things up here that you don't need, they can also make that go away, but they don't. Speaking of the work that they've done in icons, you've got the lock icon here, right, which is a lock. It looks like a lock. Part of the reason why it looks like a lock because it's got a keyhole. And when you flip it to the left, the hasp goes. It makes what it is doing makes sense. In Tesla version 9, for one thing, it doesn't look like a lock anymore. They've taken away the keyhole, and the hasp does not swing to the right. The hasp swings to the left, and the hasp swings only partially open. So it's like they didn't have enough space or something like that. It is almost as though they just wanted to undo everything that had been previously done. just so like they were saying, the guys who made Tesla version 8 and former were just idiots. We need to redo every single little thing, no matter how insignificant and small it is. We need to redo them because the lock icon was changed. The user icon, which looks like this, now looks more like the Microsoft thing, like two circles and a half circle or something like that. So these are some of the changes that they've made in Tesla version 9. They've made it inconsistent and less usable and just more shades of gray. So here we have beautiful colors throughout. In Tesla version 9, just all of this is just a shade of gray. Another thing that they have done is changed the AC controls, which now are on something that we call a modal dialog box. The modal dialog box worked perfectly well. It says, give all of my attention to here. You don't have to rearrange your complete screen. Just here's where the attention goes. But they've moved this from a modal dialog box to something that comes up from the bottom. When it comes up from the bottom, it rearranges your whole screen. Your whole screen for a moment freaks out. And then after you've done messing around with these controls, that thing goes away and your whole screen freaks out, getting itself back into where it used to be. So, so this worked really well. And there's another thing about the consistency here. You'll notice that the icons here are more like the international icons of where the air goes. And in Tesla version 9, they've changed them. Again, they changed everything, whether it's insignificant or not, whether it works or not, whether it made sense or not, they've changed it. It's like they were saying that everywhere and whoever worked on Tesla version 8 or before were idiots. We know better. And they didn't even get the icons right. And so they've got... They've come up with new icons here, which are not used in any other vehicle or any other thing. And they've also changed the order of the icons because, of course, the idiots who worked on Tesla version 8 and prior couldn't even get the order of the icons right. But if we take a look at, talk about consistent. So here we have the international icon for turn on the defroster. Here we have the icon for put air up towards the thing that looks like a keystone shaped thing, just like this keystone shaped thing. So these are consistent, they make sense, they are in international accord. In Tesla version 9, it's just an up caret. It's not used on any other vehicle, it's just an up caret. It's inconsistent from the icon down here, and it's inconsistent from anything that anybody else has done in the entire world. So these are the kind of things that drive a user interface expert just crazy, because there's just no reason why things have to be inconsistent. So we'll talk about the things that you can do in Tesla version 8 that you can't do in Tesla version 9. For example, the icons up here, not only do you press them to tell them what to do, but if you press and hold, you could tell it where to go. You could say, I want the media player to be up top. I want navigation to be on the bottom. You just press and hold. You could say, I want the camera, which by default goes up top. You can say, I want the camera to go on the bottom, and the camera will go on the bottom. So this here view is what you can do with Tesla version 9, which is the map up top and the camera on the bottom. But what's much more natural is to have the camera up top and the map on the bottom. This is impossible in Tesla version 9. So this, on the forums, a lot of people are getting upset by that they can't have their camera up top. So, so let's see what else we can talk about. The phone, like I say, the phone works like a phone. And the reason why it says not connected is because I'm recording this video now, and I purposely put it on a mode that it can't reach, so that nobody can call me and interrupt the video. But the phone, again, looks like a phone icon. Let's see, rear view, the web browser, energy. Energy could be put anywhere. You can have this view right now in Tesla version 8 and prior. You can have the rear view camera up top and the energy view on the bottom. And this is something I do fairly often. With Tesla version 9, you cannot do that. You have your choice between either the rear view camera or the energy. You can't get both at the same time. So, and actually, there's no reason why Tesla version 9 couldn't do this same kind of thing. They have this little app launcher on the bottom, and you could press it and do things. They can make it so that you could press the buttons, and you could press the button and hold it and tell it where you want to go on the screen. They could do that if they wanted to, but they just haven't done that, at least not yet. So another thing I like is the icons here. This icon down here, and you notice the car. The car is turned in a perspective view. It suggests that these controls affect the whole car. In Tesla version 9, it's just the front of the car. Again, it's like version 9 people came in and they said, everyone was idiots before us. You're going to be so happy that you hired us because all those idiots got it wrong all along. And so what the icon really should have been is the front of the car. And I disagree. I think that this view of the whole car says that the controls affect the whole car. When we press this, we do get a very unusual thing for user interface. Now, originally, when this was conceived, it had tabs on the left and also tabs on the bottom. And that's kind of weird because that kind of thing really can't exist in real life. But later on, they kind of reformatted it, made it this lighter style, like from the iPhone. And so what you see is now these become topic headings, not tabs. And the great thing about this is that they're broken into things that you probably do quite a bit and things that you probably hardly ever do. Like by default, this controls is selected. You've got the doors, the suspension, things that affect the driving, things that affect your trip, and the display, and some power off things. So now the neat thing about this is that the bottom stays all along. At all times, the bottom stays. And so the reason why this is important, especially on a Tesla Model X, is because these are the only lights that you have. You can, unlike a Tesla Model S, where you can actually go up into the rear close to the rear view mirror and push actual buttons to turn lights on. These are the only ways that you can access the lights in a Tesla Model X. So having these available no matter where you are is important. If we want to turn the lights on, the only thing we need to do is push this, and then there we go. We can turn the lights on. With Tesla version 9, what they've done is they've done everything here becomes like a setting. And so the doors is only available in the top of the setting, and they're not available anywhere else, and being able to turn the lights on. You'll notice that there's a lot more stuff here in settings, a lot more different controls, and because of this, there's just a lot more, there's a lot more requirement for real estate. So especially if we're going to roll all of this stuff into these things, what's going to happen, and what has happened in Tesla version 9, is all of this becomes longer. And in fact, it becomes so long that you can't even see all the controls, and you have to do one of these numbers to scroll up. So another thing that they have done is another thing that they've done to make it inconsistent is change the way the switches work. So one of the things that you'll notice here in Tesla version 8 is all the switches are 100% consistent. Here's a switch. It looks like this. There's a blue thing. The blue thing is selected. You can move it over here or leave it over here, right? If I come over here into controls, again, you got a blue block that can be moved. That's how it works. It's the blue block. You follow the blue block. There's this thing over here, which I can turn the lights on, go into parking mode, off, auto. It's the blue block. You just follow the blue block. In Tesla version 9, some of the things have a blue block, and some of the things look like a toggle switch from the iPhone. And so there were people online in the forums that were debating, well, the people who have iPhones would like it, but the people who have Android wouldn't like it, or something like that. And I just think it was a dumb move to change them to toggle switch looking things, because what you've done is you haven't changed everything to toggle switch looking things, only some of the things. So now what you've got is inconsistency. You've got some things that look like this and some things that look like toggle switches, whereas in Tesla version 8 and prior, you had all of the things that look like this. So it's consistent. So consistency is going to drive any user interface person, just drive them absolutely nuts. Because when you see something that looks like here in one place and it looks like something different in another place, it's just like, why? You know, isn't somebody paying attention? Well, I'll talk about controls. One of the things I want to talk about and illustrate here is the use of fonts, the use of bolding, and the use of kind of the colors and that sort of thing, because this was changed in version 9. So if we go through here, and like, for example, if I go over here in the settings, what you'll notice is that the thing that you have selected is in bold and in black, but everything else is not in bold or in black. Everything else is really in a shade of gray. What you see here is it's just a light, thin font, and it's not really black. The only things that are black are the things that have been selected. Even among the things in the selection, these, you can tell this is black, this is like 0 brightness, and even this is not black. And the point is that in version 9, what they have done is that they have made substantially all of the text black and all of the text bold, and they've also changed the font here too. And so now here's the situation. This is very interesting from a user interface design perspective. Intuitively, you would think that bold black things are more visible and more easy to read than light shade, non-bold, and light gray text. You would think this intuitively. If somebody came up to me and said, hey, Bill, if I make this thing bigger and bolder and blacker, do you think it'll be more readable? Intuitively, you say yes. But actually, the answer is no. It's fascinating, especially for an older person hitting 50 years old or older, where presbyopia starts to come in. It's actually more difficult to see this big, bold, black on white font. It's harder to see for people with presbyopia, and it's a little bit ironic because the people with Tesla Model S's and X's would tend to be up there, tend to be executives, tend to be 45 years old or older, exactly the kind of people who presbyopia is really going to start setting in, and it's just, they've made it not as easy to see this, and they've done exactly the same thing up here too. If I put this in park, you'll see that this just kind of goes away, and the lock icon, the Tesla, and the time is the only thing remaining, and it's just it just kind of blends in. It's not overpowering, but even if I come out of put it back into park here, they're just not really bold. It's a shade of gray. And in Tesla version 9, what they have done is they have made this thing super, super, super white on a black background. And it is just really, it's just jumping out at you, just standing out and screaming. And it never goes away. And during the night, it goes into a black situation. It's not even this shade of gray. It is just a super white. And in other situations, since normally this is the case, these are actually these go completely black now. So it's, instead of just kind of blending into the background and not being so visible, they go completely black. It's just screaming at you, just saying, hey, pay attention to me, I am really important. So the philosophy has changed in Tesla version 8, and prior it was purposely made so that they blend in. They're not screaming at you, they're not standing out. Whereas in Tesla version 9, they say, we are the most important things, you need to pay attention to us. So that's another change that was made in Tesla version 9. We talk about the changes that they've done in the thing over here too, because they've also changed this, because remember, everyone who worked in Tesla version 8 and prior were idiots, and only the people who worked on Tesla version 9 were the smart people. So one of the things that they've changed is this area here. What you'll notice if you take a look, you got dark at the top, getting into lighter, 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 and especially it gets lighter in this area here. Well, if we take a look at how we drive, the street actually does that. The street looks like that. The street, you got the street, which looks pretty light. It gets darker into the distance. And over here, since what's around here is on the ground, it's naturally lighter. So these guys had it right. So in Tesla version 9, what they've done is they've completely removed this lightness here on this side and on this side. So you've just got the light area here on the street, and you've got dark over here. But here's the funny thing. This continues to get dark, right? So in the day, what you've got is, and they've kept the black and white letters. Apparently the Tesla version 8 guys got the colors right. But the problem is now, in Tesla version 9, it's a little bit funny because you have black letters on a black background. These things are just about completely invisible during the day. So that's the thing that made me even notice, like, what did they do? Why is it that I can't see this? Surely they couldn't have got this wrong in the past. And they didn't, because Tesla version 8 had it right. This area here is lighter. You've got black letters on a lighter background. You can actually see the letters. In Tesla version 9, you can't see them because there's black letters on a black background. So that's a little bit funny. So let's see what else. If I change the app, I'll talk about one of the things that's changed. Here you have these nice, beautiful color icons that completely coincide with the icons over here. Yes, I want to see this. Yes, I want to see the energy. It completely corresponds, completely consistent, just like all good user interfaces. And one of the things that I've noticed too is that they changed the clock. Can I put the clock icon up here? Yes. So here in Tesla version 8 and prior, this is what the clock icon looked like. Notice it's got the nice round ring around it. In Tesla version 9, they've removed the ring. Now, how I even noticed this was this. So I'm driving my new wife's car, Tesla. It's a Model S with version 9. I'm thinking, gosh, that clock, because she likes the clock. She always has the clock in her car. So I'm driving it, and I'm thinking, the clock keeps on dragging my attention to the clock. What's happening? Why is it that it's never dragged my attention to the clock before, but now it's dragging my attention to the clock? Why is that? Well, what's interesting is they've removed the ring. And so it must be that subconsciously, that when you put a ring around something, that kind of relieves some tension in the subconscious mind. And it says, okay, here it is, and everything here is self-contained, and you don't need to look at it. Whereas Tesla version 9, since they've removed the ring, what it is it draws your attention. It's just your attention goes right there constantly. And it's just kind of funny that happens. So that's just another change that they've made. They've changed the icons. They've removed all the beauty. It's now the 50 Shades of Gray user interface, and thank God that they didn't mess around with this here or this here, this here. They didn't mess with some of the things, but they messed with a lot of other things. And like I say, that what they've done is unwittingly brought in a lot of inconsistencies in an effort to change and to say, boss, you're going to be so happy you hired me. I'm going to show you that everyone who came before me are idiots. Everyone who came before me got it wrong, and I'm the only one that got it right. Boss, you are going to be so happy that you hired me to do this, to rearrange this user interface. So another thing that they've done is changed here you always get the two controls, and you could easily turn on and off the climate just by pushing this, and you always have access to these. In order to put the app launcher over here, they had to rearrange some things over here, which made it most convenient for them to bring these into a single icon. I can sort of see that because most people do just run with them synchronized anyway, but just how this is laid out is another thing I want to draw to your attention, which is the beauty of all of this. If you take a look at this and you divide it vertically and you divide it horizontally, that's what you got. It's completely symmetrical. It's symmetrical about this vertical dividing line and symmetrical about this horizontal dividing line. It's just really, really well done. And that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video, is because it's just so well done. They did it so well that people should look at this and as a user interface study. Aha, I just noticed another thing that they made inconsistent, which is this. So here, you'll notice that this is a sharp triangle. In Tesla version 9, it is now a soft triangle. You'll also notice that this triangle has these shaded elements to it, sort of like the Delta Airlines logo. It's like lighter shade of red on the left and a darker shade of red on the right. Stylish. Lots of map apps use this, and now it's just a single red, rounded, kind of blobbish thing. But here's the funny thing, and I'm not sure I can illustrate it now. Maybe I can. Let's see. So I'm going to illustrate something here, which is that when you go someplace and then go into the trip, you'll notice that the triangle here is a sharp red triangle that is shaded. The sharp red triangle saying, hey, you go this way, this is your navigation. The sharp red triangle representing your navigation. If we take a look up here, it's a sharp red triangle. It's completely consistent. You can understand that this here must tie to this here because it's the same triangle. Well, in Tesla version 9, it's not like this. You have a soft triangle here, and you still have the sharp triangle here. They forgot that one. They missed that one. So in their effort to change everything, they missed it. So I'll show something else too, which is that when you're navigating, this is what it looks like. And this is always what it looks like. You always get the full view of your thing. In most cases, it is consistently showing you this and always showing you how much battery you're going to be there when you get there, and how much battery you're going to have when you come back. You can turn this one on and off, but this one is always present. In Tesla version 9, what they've done is they've changed it so that you really can't see this anymore. What you have to do is after you type in your address, it will show you this very briefly, and then it will go into this view. And then they have this little re-stretching thing where you can stretch it down and you say, no, show me the whole thing. And when you re-stretch it down, the view is like this. And you say, no, okay, let's say, I don't want that. And so I want to go back to the natural view. And when you go back to the natural view, all this collapses again and you don't get this anymore. And so you can say, no, but I really wanted that. And you click it and you stretch it down and you get that. And when you get that, you're back to this view. So you have your choice between having this view and the battery information, or having this view and no battery information. That is the choice that Tesla version 9 gives you now. You cannot get back both of them at the same time. And I'm going to show you again the 50 Shades of Gray user interface. The map in Tesla version 8 looks a lot better. And when we say we want to view the traffic, which actually looks like traffic, it doesn't look like a bug or something. What we see is green for the areas that are on the highways, which are available and have no traffic, and the more orangey and red things when you have heavier traffic. In Tesla version 9, they've completely gotten rid of all of the green, and they've also changed the shades of these colors. And so one of the things that we'll notice here down here, it says Google Map Data Copyright 2019. I'm not seeing this in Tesla version 9. It makes me wonder if they're using the Google Maps. And part of the reason why I wonder that is because here in this area, they're doing all kinds of construction in my city. And in this area, this is actually represents what the roads are doing right now. But in Tesla version 9's maps, it doesn't do this. It still shows something that's kind of a bit out of date. So it makes me wonder if they have, if they've kind of broken up with Google, so to speak, and using different maps or something like that. So we'll talk here a moment about the media player, what it looks like. So this is the typical configuration where you have navigation up top and media player on the bottom. And what you'll notice here is the symmetry of things. For the navigation area, you have this place here you could touch to do some navigation. Down here, you have an area where you can search So here's where you search for a place to go. This is where you search for something. Here it says search for everything. Well, it's not quite anything, but you could search for lots of different things. You could search for songs, albums, artists, podcasts, stations, different things that you could just type in there. And also notice that what I call the topic headings are on the top. So for example, if we want to look at TuneIn, you just click here on TuneIn, and here's everything that has to do with TuneIn. Click on streaming. Here's everything that has to do with streaming. Of course, we can maximize this where it fills the entire screen. The main part is that the topic headings are on top, like they usually are, and the search facility is on top, like it usually is, and also the search facility corresponds very nicely to this. There's a good visual symmetry here. So in version 9, that they have completely changed all of this. It's like the guys from version 9 really disliked the guys from version 8 and all prior versions, and so they said, well, let's see, in version 8 and all prior versions, the topic headings were on top. What we'll do is we'll put the topic headings on the bottom. And in version 8, in prior versions, the search facility was in the top left. We'll put it on the bottom right. So, but in so doing that, they have blown the visual symmetry. And also by putting topic headings on the bottom, it doesn't really make as much sense. You know, usually what happens is you have a topic heading here, and then you have anything that corresponds to that topic heading below the topic heading. So that is kind of a typical scenario. So anyway, that's I've gone on long enough. This is a Bjorn Nyland type of 30-minute email video here. So, but it does cover the main differences between version 8 and version 9. And like I said, I did want to get online and make sure that this is documented because it's just done so well. Tesla version 8 is just done so well. It's so consistent. It works so well. I'm going to hate to part with it and have to do the update here to version 9. But for sure, version 9, I will give version 9 some credit. It does have some new things, particularly the navigation seems better, but we're giving up here an awful lot. And there's no reason why they couldn't bring some of these ideas into Tesla version 9, particularly the ability to put things exactly where you want them. They could do this if they want to, and they can make these icons actually be consistent again, and actually make the traffic icon look like traffic, and make the show me the world view icon look different from the web browser icon. They could do this, and I hope that they do in the future. So anyway, enough ranting and raving, but I think that this video has been successful at documenting what version 8 looked like, what was so great about it, how it worked, and this video should be a good one to preserve the historical aspects of Tesla version 8.